Keith Rucker has printed up a split pattern for me to cast. This is not for one of his projects, this is for someone else. A core print, that's the yellow portion here, and from there we're going to use this core box, which is an exact positive of what the ID of the casting is going to look like. I'm going to go ahead and get the core made up first. It's on 0 now. It's going to change as I lay this in here, of course. Looks like that's going to work. We're going to go a little over that, so I'm going to take this out and I'm going to dump all this sand out. So for 1/2 of this core, we're looking at 426 grams. I'm gonna round that off to 500. So, with that said, for both halves, we're gonna need 1,000 grams of sand. 980, 1,000 grams on the money. This one hasn't been used. You don't want anything touching these bags when you zero it, by the way. Now for the sodium silicate. Let's go 6%. Poor Dollar. She's in trouble. She's been getting too much independence, and I ended up having to pretty much lock her up. Alright, so we got, that makes us run right at 6%. Now, to get the air out of this and hand made it. I'm sorry, Dollar's really singing the blues out here right now. Alright, so I gotta figure out why that's grabbing. Alright, so we're gonna have to divide this core box into 2 halves. I don't have any choice. If we're gonna pull these cores out clean, this is gonna have to be in 2 pieces. I'm going to have to take this to the table saw, cut it in half, then I'm going to have to cut a shim the same width as the saw kerf to glue back in there where we don't lose any of that contour. So I'm going to find the center line and then come off just one side of the center line and cut it, and then that side that I cut will be the side that I laminate a piece back onto. I'll start off with the half with no dowels on it. Try to dry some of that, any moisture out there, if I've got any. Well, the muller is still working. Kind of scared to get up under there and look at that coupling now. I plan on pouring this one time. The finish on this does not matter, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. We'll filter the June bugs out of the sand. Since this is pretty high, I'm gonna mound it up right there at the pattern. This sand's a little wetter than I prefer. I'm not used to how much water to add to the muller yet. Each muller is going to always behave a little differently. Where I don't forget where I'm at, I'm going to turn it this way. I'm going to cut my sprue right here, somewhere in this area, right down here on this corner. And then I'll cut a runner. And before I forget, clean these registration holes out with water in my air hose. That is not releasing like I want it to. There it goes. Just took a little persuasion. Put that right here. Just leave this mound up. So I'm going to put the sprue in right there. Crap. Oh, that's not going to work. You know what? It is going to work. I got a big evening planned pouring tomorrow, so we're going to pour this as is. I'll just have to grind some flashing out. We may end up still having to redo this. I don't know yet. This is going to be the entrance to the open riser. I just wanted to dress that down a little bit on both sides. Make sure we don't have any feathered sand that could go in and out. I just pulled the core out of the oven. As soon as it cools down to where I can handle it, I'm going to coat it with some graphite, lay it in place, and get this thing put back together. Alright, so the core is cooled down now. Uh-oh. Oh, that's separated. I was afraid of that. I'm not going to worry about trying to re-glue it. We're going to lay it in place just like that. Alright, so Keith said to put this on a 45-degree angle. Oh, this is going to be tricky. I'm going to try to set it right in place like this. Something good. Screw it. I don't know if you can see that. The lighting's pretty bad. Anyway, I just ruined the mold. It did not set down like it should have. So we're not going to worry about this one. We're going to go ahead and pour the rest of them, and I'll have to remake this one. Why the bottom half went right in and the top half didn't. We'll figure it out. I should have had this camera going with the flash because of the poor lighting condition I got here, but as you can see, the core busted the cope out. I'm just going to remake this and another core. It will not be poured tomorrow. I hate to fire the furnace for only a handful of molds, but this stuff has to ship. I've got too many people waiting on this stuff, so we will resume that mold again later. And honestly, I wasn't crazy about the way that pulled out. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and pull these pins out and make them very shallow. Now it's about 30 miles to my west. I see a lot of rain coming down. I got to do a pour tonight, and I want to make sure I don't have a power failure right in the middle of a melt. But I guess I'm going to give it another 30 minutes and see what happens, and in the meantime I guess I'll bust some iron. I've been keeping my eye on it. Looks like the weather is traveling north as far as the clouds go, so I guess we're going to be good tonight. May as well watch the sun disappear, huh, Dollar? I wish it were as simple as just flipping the on switch and going, guys, but having fits tonight with the burner. So we'll just get a fresh start on it tomorrow. Also, Brian Blott was so impressed with my splicing job on my rope, I decided to show it to you guys. It's holding. Having the rope run right over the furnace probably isn't the best idea. Well, this is going on the second night attempting to get a melt done. It's already Thursday. I was supposed to have this done last night. What I'm doing here, I just pulled these bolts out of the front side of the flange, and I'm going to leave 2 of these reversed for alignment pins. I found out what was going on. Anyway, I got to take this off, put the bolts back on. These 2 bolts here will keep it aligned and let it go straight onto the interface. Okay, so this particular burner has diffuser plates in there. It's a stack of them. They have to be clean. It's a cruddy mess. It chokes the thing down. When I pulled it off the first time, I was thinking, well, it doesn't look that bad. So I was taking a chance by putting it right back on, since I was in a hurry to try to hurry up and get this thing going and get a melt done tonight. And I bypassed putting a sealant around the interface. And it just started blowing smoke all over the place. So I ended up having to shut it down. So now I'm just waiting on all that to cool down 100 degrees before I can apply the sealant to the interface, or it is not going to seal right. It has to stay elastic all the way down to the torque on the bolts. With it this hot, it's just going to dry to a chalk, and it's going to blow out without creating a seal. Well, I got 1, 2, 3. I poured that, didn't I? Yeah, I got that poured. 3 out of 4. That's not bad. Of course, I can pour 2 of these per crucible, so I'm only gonna have to do 2 more melts to finish this out. I burned my hand a while ago, and I'm gonna put some cream on it, let that cool it off a little bit. Alright, this is one of the castings I broke out of the sand tonight. No shrinkage, looks good. This is the other 2 molds. This was one, this was the other one. These are cane mill knives, and I'll tell you more about that probably in the next video. The customer's going to be here to pick them up, so I'll have them ground cleaned up by then. And I'll have the train wheel in there cleaned up and have that on the next video as well. I burned my hand earlier today, as I said, and I was wanting to knock out the last 4 molds, but I'm going to have to give my hand about 1 day to heal. Anyway, I'm going to cut it off right here. Like I said, I'm changing the format. I'm just kind of showing you a little bit here and there as I go, giving you a little more behind the scenes mess that I'm having to deal with here. And I meant to video, I should have videoed this. My neighbor, he came up yesterday. He can't walk. He's in pretty bad shape, so he has to rely on an electric scooter, and he just had a crane installed in his truck, but he didn't have a way to, he didn't have any mounts on the chair to put it in there. So normally I would make this a 2-week project, and you know, come up with some kind of design that was going to take forever, and then find out that's not going to work and have to redo the whole plan. But I'm proud of myself. I went and just bought some straps, and I showed him how to wrap it on 4 points, and we were able to load it in the truck. That went good. Everything else, I'm trying to give you a more realistic view of what I have to deal with here at the foundry. And hey, that's, you know, burns. I've had somebody ask me about that. Do you ever get burned? Oh yeah, yeah. But at least once a month I get a pretty good scorcher. And as I've told people this before, keep in mind, when you open that furnace, you've got 1/3 of the heat of the sun hitting you in the chest, the arms, the face. All that's got to be really protected, and you've only got so many seconds of absorbing that much heat before it really starts penetrating the skin. I've got 2 layers of leather on. I wear a lot of protection, and but it's only good for so long. You know, just like when I usually burn myself, it's from pulling the crucible, because I can't just grab it at good secure points in that second. Sometimes I have to twist the crucible around and maneuver it in there. The whole time I'm getting cooked. And like today, I had to twist it. Then I got my tongs caught up in there. That didn't want to work right. That's about the timeline you can handle that heat through your leathers. After that, the heat just starts going right through it, penetrating the skin. I can't count how many times I've had 3rd degree burns. I mean, luckily they're very small spot burns. They blister up, looks nasty, and it takes close to a month to heal. Anyway, I guess that's it. As Keith would say, I guess that's a wrap. But I'll see y'all next Sunday. Just a big old hairy spider with fangs.
You want him alive?
No. Looks like it's gonna be a beautiful day. Got Buddy over here just chilling. Jake and Dollar.